Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Digging Deeper moment number 123. The mission of our Digging Deeper moments is to take God's Word to God's world. We are so glad that you joined us. Now, before we get into tonight's lesson, I need you to do me a favor. If you have not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so because it will help us spread lessons like this one to others. We certainly appreciate it. In our last two Digging Deeper moments, we've seen that Hebrew writing is progressively recursive. That is, it repeats itself. And each time it does, it adds new detail not given before. We've seen that this repetition occurs on the macro level, that's in genre, books, and chapters, as well as the micro level, within verses themselves, in something called couplets and tricolas. For more, see Digging Deeper number 122 on that. But on the micro level, we also see that this repetition occurs in words, something called word pairs. Word pairs are quite common in the Old Testament. And what's important to understand is that we really can't define the word pair by simply understanding the two words individually. It's only by taking the two words together that we grasp the full meaning of a word pair. For instance, in English we have a lot of word pairs, and some common ones are by and large, odds and ends, cause and effect, business and pleasure, coffee and donuts, that's my favorite, back and forth, bed and breakfast. But you can't define these word pairs simply by looking up the two words. They have another meaning. For instance, by and large, if you look up by, something through, or that's something that causes something, then large, big, that doesn't convey what this word pair means. By and large means, this is generally speaking what's true. And so this is what you find in word pairs in English, and it's also true of word pairs in Hebrew. For example, a very common word pair in the Hebrew Bible is faithfulness and kindness, or kindness and faithfulness. And they mean more than being kind and being loyal. In Genesis chapter 47, verse 29 through 30, the Bible reads, "When the time drew near for Israel," that's Jacob, "to die, he called for his son Joseph and said to him, 'If I have found favor in your eyes, put your hand under my thigh and promise that you will show kindness and faithfulness. Do not bury me in Egypt, but when I rest with my fathers, carry me out of Egypt and bury me where they are buried. I will do as you say,' he said." Jacob isn't asking his son Joseph to be nice to him. He's asking him to fulfill his covenantal duty towards him. Kindness and faithfulness referred to a covenant relationship between two parties in which the stronger party was bound to help the weaker. The word pair is hesed, which is used throughout the Old Testament to speak of kindness, and particularly covenant kindness, and the word emet, which speaks of faithfulness or loyalty. Together, hesed and emet speak of one's covenant obligations. So when you see a word pair in the Old Testament, you have to remember that it's more than just the two words individuals put together. It has its own meaning. But there's another way in which Hebrew repeats itself, and that is on the outline level. Now, we are all familiar with outlines. One, letter A, letter B, letter C, etc. This outline form is familiar to us. In fact, even Microsoft Word will do this for you. It's the way we outline things today. But in biblical times, they outline things differently. They outline things recursively or repetitively through something called a chiasm. A chiasm is an outline that repeats itself but in reverse order. I used to call it a chiasmus, but that's the wrong pronunciation. It's actually called a chiasmus or a chiasm. Its name is based on the Greek letter chi. And it's like an hourglass. It's shaped like an hourglass, big at the top, narrowing in the middle, and then it fans out at the bottom. A chiasm outline is ABC, CBA. ABC, then it repeats in reverse order, CBA. A good example of this on the micro level is Isaiah chapter 6, verse 10. It says, "Make the heart of this people dull," letter A, "and their eyes and their ears heavy," B, "and blind their eyes," letter C, "lest they see with their eyes," C, "and hear with their ears," letter B, "and understand with their hearts," A, "and turn and be healed." Notice how the first half of the verse progresses from heart to ears to eyes, while the second half progresses in reverse order from eyes to ears to heart. This is a common chiasm that's used throughout the Old Testament. And one of the things you have to keep in mind is that the middle of the chiasm is often the main point. And so what is the middle of Isaiah 6:10? The letter C. The people's eyes. They don't see. They are blind. And that's the message that he's communicating. Now, the best illustration of a chiasmus that I've ever seen on a macro level is the story of Joseph. But we're out of time, and we'll have to pick it up there next week. If this lesson helped you, please share it with a friend, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube channel, or check out our Sunday Morning Live podcast on either Apple or Spotify. And if you'd like to partner with us as we take God's Word to God's world, you can do so by going to our website and clicking the How to Give tab. I hope to see you next week.